So what is this thing that I'm calling a boost pack? Let me just tell you the story behind this. Here about 3 weeks ago I went in to have the oil changed on my car. And I've just been running a traditional car battery in there, and of course doing a full service oil change. The guys checked the cranking amps on the battery. He comes back and tells me, you only got about 200 cranking amps in this battery, and going into winter you're not going to be able to start on a cold morning. I was sitting there kind of just imagining, what I could do with 200 cranking amps, but then the realization set in, what, I really ought to take care of this, and I don't see any sense on buying another traditional car battery. These things are so full of lead. They're heavy. So I set about to build my own car battery replacement, and the result was this thing that I'm calling a boost pack. These are these boostcap Maxwell ultra capacitors. I got these for $6 a piece, and I've got 6 of them in this, and they're connected in series. And this will give me up to 15 volts. This usually runs around 14 volts when I have it in the car. Man, I have been testing this thing for the last 2 weeks in my car, and it has just worked great. When I first started testing it, I put it in there and I took jumper cables with me, like ready to use at any time. But after 2 weeks of using this in my daily commuter car, I built a lot of faith up in this system. I'm really excited about it. Okay, one thing to notice about the traditional car battery is the weight that we have here. We've got 30 pounds of weight on this car battery, and the boost pack that I built up, it weighs in at just a hair over 5 pounds, under 10 pounds. There's a significant weight savings, and that weight savings is important. That can translate into increased miles per gallon. Okay, so this looks like it's pretty much ready to test. I'm just going to point out a few things. I've went ahead and ordered what's called a battery brain. It'll shut this off at 11.8 volts. I think for this system, that's too high. I need to build something adjustable, because when this thing gets down around 10 volts, this thing still has plenty of cranking amps to start my motor here. This thing just, the amperage doesn't taper off the same way the voltage as it does in a regular battery. But anyway, let's go ahead and start the car, and we'll test this. One of the things I really like about this setup is how nice and quick the car starts. This has plenty of amperage to keep the car happy. And just really nice system. I've been testing this 2 weeks. Sometimes I left the car 3-4 days during one period, just down, and didn't drive it, and came back and started right up just like that, folks. So I think that was 3 starts. Let's do a couple more quickly. And then let's go look at the voltage. So if you notice, we were not giving the alternator very much time to recharge the boost pack here, but let's go ahead and check this out. And we're at 12.64 volts, about 12.6 volts. So that gives you an idea of the way this behaves. One thing I want to show you here is how quickly this will charge back up to 14 volts as the car's running. So I'm going to start it, and we'll get out here quickly and take a look at that. Okay, let's start this up. Alright, let's get out here. Watch this, folks. That is just charging right back up to 4 volts. And that's literally how fast this pack recharges. And you can hear the draw on the alternator dropping off as it comes up to 14 volts here. So within minutes of starting your car, you're topped off again, right back where you want to be at 14. And this car comes out around 14.8 volts, and that's usually where it settles down at. So in a small off-the-grid workshop or something along that line, these would come in really handy if you don't run a prolonged load. I'm going to show some testing here with the drill press. But if you're the type of person that has a workshop where you just flip on a drill press for a minute, 2 minutes, flip it off, and then come back later to work on something else, maybe you need to power a belt sander for a couple minutes later, one of these you could actually get by with, because the solar panel tops these back up really quick. And with millions of charge-discharge cycles like you've got on these, this could be a really interesting off-the-grid workshop application. Not so good if you run power tools for a prolonged period, though. Anyway, but here's the progression. Here's my traditional car battery. we're looking at 30 pounds. So I was all stoked when I went to this and brought that down to, I don't know, 7, 8 pounds. And I've been using this over the winter. I went ahead and rebuilt it. Been using this, great success. And look at this, folks. I've gone down to this. It doesn't even bump the scale. This little thing actually starts my car right up. No hesitation. Turns it right over. So I don't know what that's even coming in at. I don't know, half a pound or something. But this, I'm excited about this. Talk about some weight savings. Talk about a progression in my experimentation in this technology. You know, you could mount this up with a solar panel. One other thing to point out here is on this one, these are 2,600 farad caps. They're connected in series. So we have 2,600 farad on this pack. This pack we have 350 farad. So this is a much smaller pack. It's not like you're going to be leaving the radio on for half an hour or leaving this pack, you know, not running your car for 2 or 3 days, most likely, with this little guy. Because if you turn your car off for 2 or 3 days, these capacitors may leak down in voltage and not be able to start the car. But hey, I'm going to start testing that. The only way to find this stuff out, really, in my experience, is just to hook it up and test it. So that's what we're going to be doing here, folks. We're going to hook this up right now. Okay, so in this big space here, where I used to have the big traditional battery and then the first boost pack that I built, I've now got the mini boost pack. And I'm going to be testing this out here, and I'll get back with you on all the results, but it sure looks promising. I've wired it up in here, and I'm going to hand the camera over to my son. I'm going to start the car, and you guys can hear right in the engine bay the sound of the car starting. You'll see that there's just no hesitation. This little boost pack just starts this car right up. So. That's it, folks. This little pack is going to be in here, and I'm going to be testing it on my daily commuter car, and we'll see how this will work. So far, I've just gone from amazement that it could even start my car to now amazement that it may be a functional battery replacement. And you know, worst case scenario, I make it a hybrid. I put a small battery back here in the back, and I'll test this for a while just as is, but if need be, I'll go to that. So. Anyway, guys, that's where we're at in the boost pack.